Working in an optical store is different than you probably think. So today, myself and Calum are going to be talking behind the scenes. We're going to be revealing what goes on behind the camera. And we're going to be showcasing some of the glasses that me and Calum have been working on this week to kind of showcase what we do and give you a bit of eyewear inspiration. So hi, I'm Robert, style and vision consultant here at the Spectacle Factory. It's my job to pair you with your perfect pair of glasses. Today I'm joined by Calum, who's our senior lab technician. He's going to be giving us a bit of a different perspective on things. We're going to be talking about some of the challenges that we face doing our day-to-day jobs and some of the fun that we have as well. Hi Calum, thanks for joining us.
Hiya.
Calum has been on the channel before, but not for a few years now, and I think you've really developed. Now you're pretty much autonomous in the lab, aren't you?
Basically 9% of it, yeah.
People don't see what goes on in the store. They see me on camera, but when they visit us physically, they're surprised at the team that we have. We have 20 staff now, and having a team that takes care of most of the day-to-day stuff, you being one of the most important parts of that is really helpful, so thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
You probably work on the most complicated, the most technical glasses of pretty much any lab technician in the world. I don't think you give yourself enough credit or get enough credit for that.
I think it goes both ways, yeah. I don't really give myself enough credit, but I also, the customers don't see me. I'm not customer facing, so I don't really get the thanks back. Kind of hard to get the appreciation.
But obviously I've been doing this a bit longer than you. I've been doing this 16 years, and I also grew up with it. But even you're 8 years in now, right? So
yeah.
After me, you're the most experienced person, or the longest serving member of staff anyway.
Well, here, yeah.
In our team.
Seeing the old team and then the new team, it's all good.
Customer service has changed a lot in the time that I've been doing it. I think people are getting more and more demanding. I think people have high expectations, quite rightly, because we want to make the best glasses in the world. So we expect clients who want the best pair of glasses possible, and that's what we do and that's what we deliver. But sometimes those expectations border on unrealistic. And I think a lot of your time, for example, is spent answering calls, telling people where their glasses are up to because they kind of feel like they should have been ready yesterday.
We're dealing with 1 million people and we just need an extra time to make your glasses special. We want to do, quality over quantity.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to showcase some of these glasses, because these are amazing pairs of glasses that we have, spent weeks working on. For example, this is our new gold edition Alba. This design I'm so proud of. I think it looks amazing, but this is highly technical to produce this. Why don't we break it down to the whole process of how a pair of glasses like this gets made? So first of all, I've done the consultation with the client over video call, and they've placed their order. Luckily with these frames, because these are our frames, we have them always in stock.
Yeah.
But for example, other frames might be made to order. We'll come to that with the Lindbergh
stock
ones.
for now though, because
until they sell out very soon.
It's crazy how quick they're going. So first of all, we place our order with the manufacturer. In this case, it's an IoT lens, which allows us to do a little bit more. Well, not a little bit, a lot more of a customization. This has a tint, a mirror coating, and a photochromic, that's it.
To get all three in one is highly specialized, and
Yeah.
we normalize it because we do it every day, but it isn't normal. It's something that only a very, very small amount of labs in the world can make.
You say that though, it's crazy because Zeiss is this big company. They do this adaptive sun, which is, funnily enough, a tint with a photochromic, but they'll only do it. Yeah, and a flash, but they'll only do it on a set colour. Why can't they do another colour? Explain to me.
It is frustrating because Hoya have their Sensity colours as well,
yeah,
which are great, but they're fixed options. Nowadays, people don't want a fixed option. They don't want something that's like everybody else has. They want something one of a kind. I agree with you. I share the frustration. I'm always feeding back to Zeiss, why can't you do tint and photochromic? It is technically possible, but they have to go through multiple processes.
That's right.
It's not like they take a lens and they just magic it into this.
Exactly. The thing with the IoT is they actually rotate every day on which mirror gets done. So let's say you've done a red mirror, sorry. That red mirror is only getting done on Fridays.
Yeah.
And you won't get it till late next week.
It has to be like that because the coating application process is multiple hours long. It's an all-night thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can just do every coating every day. It's physically impossible. They have to do coating runs. So obviously, 90% of orders that a lab is producing are just going to have a standard anti-reflective coating. And then, only opticians like us are ordering things like flash coatings and mirror coatings. They have these vacuum chambers where they have literally hundreds of lenses being done at once. And it only makes sense financially to do it at scale. But that's only just one part of it. That, you've also got the actual manufacturing of the optics. Mm-hmm. That takes time. Then you've got the tinting process. That takes time. Tinting, a lot of people don't realize, is done by hand and by eye.
Yeah.
And again, it has to be that way because every prescription lens is going to have a different thickness, a different size, different material. So you literally never get two orders that are identical. And therefore it can't be automated. It has to be done manually. So tinting like this is a gradient tint. Someone like me and you will physically hold that lens in the dye, dip it out, dip it in, until they get exactly that color. And that takes time. And do you know what else? It can go wrong. Yeah. That's another reason, like, people think, I'll tell them your glasses should likely take around 4 weeks. But what happens when you're 3 weeks into the process and something goes wrong? It's got to start again. And by the way, that's just the lens manufacturing before it gets here. So what's the next step once this arrives with us?
Well, once it arrives, it gets booked in, make sure everything's right with the tint, coating and all that. Once it's done, we put it on the, let's try again because I actually faced over there to point at the machine. We get it traced. Now with this being a rimless, we have to trace the lens individually for each person, and each person wants sizing differences as well. Sometimes our original shape doesn't fit the customer's head, so they want it bigger, smaller, etc. And by doing that, we have to modify all the holes to make it fit as well with the shape change. With that being done, we have to do a couple of test lenses because obviously we don't want to use their actual lenses and it being wrong, do we? So that takes even more time.
We've got to make prototypes before we finalise the completed design. And that's just for a normal shape, but then this has got facets along the top, it's got design cuts. These are, again, different manufacturing processes that all have to be programmed individually for each order. And you're the one doing it, and it takes time because you're a perfectionist. Like, I like to think I've trained you to be a perfectionist.
Yeah, of course. It's very time consuming. I'd say at least even a prototype lens takes around 10 minutes each, and with this being the top bar, it needs both doing, because if that middle hole is not set up correctly, the job's done. You know, it won't fit whatsoever. It'll either bend up, bend completely down, or won't even fit.
The whole positioning on Rimless has to be perfect. And again, you can do your job perfectly and it just goes wrong. The machine will just randomly...
The machine has a mind of its own at times, like a gestalt consciousness. It decides it wants to be a bit of a deviant today. It ruins someone's glasses that are programmed perfectly just because it felt like it wanted to have a go at me.
And that's the thing. If you've not worked in manufacturing, you might not realise this. All equipment does that. All equipment has a failure rate. Nothing is perfect. We would love it that everything just goes smoothly from start to finish. Here in the real world, that actually doesn't happen. But those customers coming in, calling up, sometimes they're so nice about it. They're so chill.
I love them ones, yeah.
Sometimes they get angry and it's like, well, we've not deliberately messed up your glasses and we've actually programmed everything just perfect. By the way, we are both humans and sometimes we actually do make a mistake ourselves.
It's the nature of optics, especially also when we're getting such a highly specialised set of lenses. Like I said before, you can miss one little thing, no one will notice till the very end, which obviously will add a massive delay because we have to reorder everything.
And by the way, this is not to make an excuse for us and our service. This is how it is in the optical industry. And I know right now there are like 1 million opticians watching this and thinking, yes, because we all go through it. But I mean, here's a great example. So we just showed off the Reykjavikized leaf, which, by the way, you did an amazing job on that, genuinely. But equally amazing is the work you did on this Cartier. And it just shows,
What's that, Rob? Where's that other Reykjavik that we did that had the facets on the back, the little small ones on the front? Where's that one? Something quite cool. So this is the job I just finished on Saturday. And it's very similar to this job, but completely like overhauled, I'd say. Got facets on the front and full back facets. And you can see the shape has drastically been changed to what the usual one would look like.
It just goes to show how different two pairs of rimless glasses can be, because these are both the same frame, same shape even, but the proportions of this have been completely modified for this customer compared to that one. And the faceting style is entirely different as well. And the tint is so different. Every project we do, and this is, I think, why people come to us, we literally never make the same pair twice, do we? Like every pair for every customer is in some way customized for them.
Yeah.
And I love that. This is for Donna, who, I don't know if you ever met her, she visited from the US with her husband Mark. She has a really high prescription, so we use this faceting style to completely get rid of the thickness here. I think, is she like a -5?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Maybe even more. But you wouldn't know, like these are incredibly thin lenses because of that faceting. Now these have literally just been finished, so they have the print marks on. These are lens verification marks that we...
The transfers.
Yeah, the transfers that do come off afterwards, obviously, but for now we have to leave them on because they've not gone through final QC.
It's quite a cool heads-up display, isn't it?
I mean, that's a great example of your skill. Faceting like this is not easy. Programming it, getting it just right. It's been a lot of experience to get to this point, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, a lot. It's changed a bit considering 7 years ago I used to just do stock lenses, so.
Speaking of stock lenses, I actually had something to discuss. 1 second, I want to grab something. So a couple of years back when Zeiss brought out their new Clearview technology, which is basically a new way of mass producing really high quality spectacle lenses, we were one of the pioneers of having Clearview lenses in stock so we can actually make them in-house while someone waits, like literally in less than half an hour. We were one of the pioneering stores, I think the first store to have Clearview lenses available in stock in-house. And now Clearview lenses just got upgraded and I'm here for it. I'm actually really excited to be able to offer these. So these have been made for me. Well, not made for me because they're stock items, but these have been ordered for me. This is a Clearview lens, which is already like an amazing quality lens in 1.67 index, so ultra thin, with blue guard, so blue light filter without any cosmetic effect, and DuraVision Gold, which is basically, well, it's the best size coating and arguably the best lens coating there is. Hoya would have something to say about that. But I think
quite like the Mario coatings for sure.
But DuraVision Gold is good. You can't argue with that. It is like really smooth, really easy to clean.
And the DuraVision Gold actually helps eliminate the yellow.
Yeah, it completely neutralizes it. So you look through this lens, there's no like yellowing like you normally get with a blue filter.
The problem
lens.
we have with customers is they want to get a blue guard lens because they got recommended it, but they don't want the yellow. Yeah. And that helps neutralise it, which is brilliant.
Look through that, it doesn't shift colours whatsoever. There's like zero yellowing in that lens that I can detect.
Yeah, it's good. Literally no colour change whatsoever.
So we're now able to offer this, or we will be very soon.
Once we get the stock in.
Once the stock arrives, we'll be able to offer this whilst you wait. So you can visit our store and walk away with like pretty much a almost best of the best size lens.
Now we'll be able to do a 167, which will greatly benefit those high prescriptions that we have to deal with.
Definitely, and you know, for most frames, even if you have a smallish prescription, you know, with my orders, I pretty much always choose 1.67
for the flat.
Because you get that flatness, you get that, like they look like they're non-prescription, and for me that's always my aim. This is not something that could be made same day.
No.
This is the blue adaptive sun gradient. Those are photofusion blue, aren't they?
The Sensitive blue.
Oh, are they? Did you change them?
Yeah.
Okay. Sensitive blue is more of like a neutral blue, isn't it? Like a navy blue.
Yeah, I quite like it.
This has a similar faceting style with the facets around the inside of the lens.
There's actually some on the front as well to give that
this one?
Did you not see it? Look, they've got really thin ones on the front and big ones on the back to give a gem effect.
You're going to love that. It's just a nice little touch, and I'm impressed that you took the initiative to do that.
Because when you actually look at it, the front combines with the back and it sort of gives it a 3D effect.
That is really beautiful. Great job.
Thanks.
If you're having lenses which are fully bespoke, do you want that to be rushed? No. So I think Amazon is the problem really, because Amazon's like trained everyone to expect immediate delivery of things and that everything is just like fully automated. When you get into glasses, and this is the thing, no two pairs of glasses are the same once you start customizing them like this. It can't be automated. It simply can't be automated. It has to be a manual thing. Making these glasses manually is, for me, it's like an artwork. I don't think you should rush an artist. So Calum is our artist. And speaking of that, there are a few things that now, despite the fact that I've been working in the lab like twice as long as you, you're actually better than me at, and I'll admit that. And one of those things is buffalo horn glazing.
And the second one is JMM.
Let's not get into that. Why don't you talk us through, for example, the installation process for a buffalo horn frame? Again, this is highly specialized. There are really a handful of labs in the world that will fit lenses to a buffalo horn frame.
Buffalo horns are quite brittle. It's a back insert only, so you can only put the lenses in through the back, but you can't even do anything to them unless they've kept inside a little humidity control bag. See? You have to wait 24 hours before you even try to start work on it. And if you take it out of the bag for more than an hour and you don't, get around to finishing it, you have to go back in for another 24 hours. You don't do any of that, you're just going to break the lenses, not the lenses, you're going to break the frame, and God knows how much that's going to be to replace.
It's not just the money, but it's the time,
Well, yeah.
That frame takes around 3 months to manufacture. So I think that's it, and I hope you enjoyed this little insight into how things work behind the scenes. If you have any questions for me or Calum, leave them in the comments below. We'd love to get your thoughts. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks guys.
Ta-ra.
Bye bye.